Hey everybody, it's me, Angel Benton, and it's time for another edition of Angel Sudsy Recap. And today, oh, here, in terms of the pimple, it's almost gone. Almost. Um, so let's talk about Bold and Beautiful, because that's what we're talking about today, Bold and Beautiful. First of all, they've changed their opening sequence, and I like the fact that it's very retro. It's like how it used to be when the show first started 30 years ago, and I think that's why they did it. And I like that. But I do miss the opening credits where it has the character name and the actor's name. I thought that was very helpful for people that were just catching up. So I don't know. But I mean, it's fine. Whatever. I love that Sally Spectra's in it. I love it. And Shirley and Coco are also in it too, but I love that Sally Spectra is in it. I think I know every single week I always talk about how much I love Sally Spectra, but she's really made a really good impression on me. Normally when someone new comes on a show, either A, I don't like them because they're not very good, or B, I'm just ambivalent. I'm giving them some time because I'm not sure if they might get better or whatever. So whatever. I very, very, very rarely jump on the bandwagon of I like this person right away, but I do like Sally Spectra, the new Sally Spectra. I love her. I think she's awesome. Okay, so this past week they've been in Sydney, Australia. So this past week was the 30th anniversary of the show, and yes, it did have a hokey moment where Eric and Brooke, because they're the only two people that have been on the show since the very beginning for all 30 years. There was a moment where they talked about how they've made moves that were bold and beautiful, and of course, here's me, right? But Eric and Quinn, Brooke and Ridge, Bill and Katie, Steffi and Liam, and Ivy all went down to Australia. Oh, and Thomas and Sally Spectra. She went too, but Sally Spectra actually went separately. She surprised Thomas because Thomas stopped by Spectra Design's office before he went, and he's like, if you were going, I would totally take you to the wedding. And this is what I like about that bitch. She scrounged up enough cash to get her ass to Australia, right? Now, that is very reminiscent of Angel Benton. One year, for Southern Decadence, I was fighting with Brandon, and we because of his boyfriend at the time. So, we kind of were a little bit on the outs, and but I still wanted to go to Southern Decadence, but I wasn't going to go with Brandon. So I actually bought a bus ticket from Los Angeles to New Orleans 43 hours later, right? I was on a bus for that long. First of all, never again. I like that I had the gumption and I just still did it anyways, because I couldn't afford a plane ticket, but I could afford bus fare. But at the same time, fuck that. Fuck that. I'm never doing that again. That was awful. Just the bus ride. Actually, the very last leg of the bus ride on the way home from... Oh, what's funny is that, so Brandon and I ended up making up when we were in New Orleans, of course, because we always make up. And that was when Hurricane Gustav happened. So, we ended up having to hunker down in Brandon's parents' house in Slidell, me and Brandon and Rusty. And Brandon, and this was my first, well, no, this was actually my second hurricane. My first hurricane was actually a Pacific Coast hurricane, and I was in Hawaii for that. But this was my first Atlantic Gulf Coast hurricane, right? So I'm there, and Brandon fucking sleeps through the whole damn thing. The whole thing. He just was asleep the whole time. Meanwhile, we had a generator going because we did lose power, but the generator had two plugs in it, so we had enough for juice for the refrigerator, which we kept running so that our food wouldn't spoil. And we plugged in the TV VCR combo. I mean, TV DVD. Let's see, I just showed my age just now. The TV DVD combo. And that's all the energy that we had. And we watched Star Wars from, the original trilogy, 1, 2, and 3, right in a row. And that was an election year, 2008. And I didn't realize how much Star Wars was about politics. The first trilogy, a lot of people, they kind of write the first trilogy off because they're like, oh God, it's awful. Jar Jar Binks is horrible, and he is horrible. But if you look at the storyline as a whole, it's very much political, and it was great though. And I love me some Hayden Christensen. I don't care what anybody else says. I love him. When I first started at where I'm working now, I had a Central Credit book with a bunch of different club numbers in it, and I on the front of the book I put pictures of Hayden Christensen because I love him so much. And that was on one side, and then on the other side was Casey Diedrich, who played Chad, the first Chad Demera. I mean, the new Chad Demera is cute too, but the first one was on baby daddy. Okay. Anyways, back to Bold and Beautiful. I'm sorry. So on today's episode, Steffi and Liam got married. They didn't get married today, but they got married, and she ziplined into the wedding like that was a big deal. Girl, you're gonna have to get up a lot earlier in the morning if you want to make a big deal. This soap wedding was not that great. You know what soap wedding I thought was really good? Luke and Laura's was the best. That was the best soap wedding. That was the soap wedding to end all soap weddings. The other one, and I should talk about this during General Hospital because it was an ABC soap, but it's not General Hospital, was, okay, please let me know if you remember this because this was hilarious. It was Alex Olenoff Hesser, who is played by Tanya Martin, who's playing Olivia Jerome right now. On General Hospital, because she played Olivia Jerome first before she went to One Life to Live. She was marrying Asa Buchanan, and their wedding was a riot. She was dressed up like Cleopatra, and she was being rowed in a boat down a river, and he was dressed as a cowboy with Asa was dressed up as a cowboy with Clint and Bo on horses coming the other direction, so they would meet in the middle. It was the most ridiculous thing, but it was so grandiose and over the top. It was fantastic. Another example. Now, it was filmed in New York City, and that's where they filmed One Life to Live. So, again, you don't have to have these huge location shoots to have perfect weddings or great soap weddings. Young and the Restless had theirs inside. One Life to Live had theirs outside. And Bold and the Beautiful, they do a lot of their fabulous weddings are remotes, but I've talked about that enough. Anyways, so Steffi and Liam got married, big whoop. Now you can add them to the boring couples like Rick and Maya, and now Nicole and Zende. And it really disappoints me because Zende can go home, but Nicole had a lot of potential. And Rick and Maya, they still have a lot of potential. Now, I'm not saying because you're a couple, you have to automatically be cheating or be interested in someone else. There's so many other avenues that they could explore, especially with Rick wanting to take control of the company. Maybe Maya can help him with that. Maybe they can scheme to take the company away from Ridge and Steffi. You know what I'm saying? Instead, Rick is a little out of character, and Maya has gone to being boring, and she was never boring, so that's annoying. But there's one thing I definitely want to talk about. So Brooke saw Ridge and Kim kissing goodbye, right before Ridge was supposed to get married. But Brooke was like, fuck you. She had a whole speech where she said, you know what, Ridge? I'm done with you. I'm really done. And then she left. And I gotta give her props because that speech was second best to the speech she gave when the first time she left Ridge and said she was done with him right before she started dating Thorne. But we all know how that turned out. She ended up going back to Ridge. Now, if she is done with Ridge, for real done with Ridge, I am down with that. Because this time, which is different than last time, you've got Bill Spencer waiting in the wings, and he can actually give Brooke the life that she deserves. So I say, girl, you hop on that stallion and you get some. Okay. Anyways, I love Bold and Beautiful. It's fantastic. So thank you so much for logging on today. I do appreciate it. You can follow me on Twitter at Angel Benton and on Instagram as well. And you can also hashtag Bold and Beautiful to talk about the Bold and Beautiful. And you can also hashtag Dancing for Relevancy, because that is coming up next and I am so excited about it. Have a great night, everyone. Peace out and wubba wubba wubba.